Hail and well met, 'tis I Bard, pronouns they, them, and she, her, welcoming you once again to the Mad Realm. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a quick and dirty sort of understanding of something that I had wanted to explore in an earlier video concerning priming, but was unable to due to the fact that, well, I just didn't have it at the time. And that is the airbrush. Woo! You know, the thing that apparently you need to be a great miniature painter, which, if you didn't know, is patently false. But you know, let's get into it, shall we? So in today's video, I'm just going to be giving like a sort of quick rundown on how the airbrush works. There are many more videos created years ago by skilled content creators who have been in this business a whole lot more that go into further detail. So if you want that kind of video, you can just type in airbrush and miniature into YouTube and you'll find a bunch. I'm just here to, give my humble opinion, show you how I work it, and what you're probably going to be looking like when you work in airbrush. Because something that a lot of the professional miniature painters like to do is really play up an airbrush. They'll show you the things you can do with an airbrush, which are very impressive, very beautiful works of art, but don't want to show you the sort of dirty down way to do it. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you just what it looks like to work in airbrush, how it might look when the paint comes out, some mistakes, some victories, so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's take it to the hobby desk and let's make some art. Prior to any airbrushing, I always like to apply a secondary mat or just piece of cloth onto my typical workstation, just so that I don't dirty it up. Makes cleanup much easier for later. Every single airbrush has one of these, a little power bank, in which you plug into the airbrush, connecting it to some sort of electrical grid, thus allowing you to start it up. With my airbrush, I have a whole bunch of little plugins that I can add on to work with any form of outlet. Yours may vary, but with this Iwata Neo Eclipse Air, you have a whole bunch of options. As you can see, there is a plug for any and all outlet. And to click it in for this model, all you have to do is align the hooks, putting it in, twisting it into place. The next part of an airbrush is the compressor, which for me is a tiny little thing that is fairly portable and that I just need to clean off from all of the incense that I typically burn. Now, as you can see, this is a little machine with a tube connecting it, which allows the air to flow into the actual airbrush itself. And it also comes with a neat little airbrush holder that, once you put it in, is sort of incredibly hard to take out. So, just keep it in there. It'll be fine. It'll hold your airbrush wonderfully. Now, on this compressor, there's a fairly obvious on and off button. For you, it may be some form of a nozzle which you have to adjust, but for me, it is relatively easy. This is a simple setup from Iwata. And all you have to do is, at least for me, since it obviously isn't turning on, plug in the adapter from, the bank into the actual compressor itself, and then find an electrical outlet, take the bank, plug that in, and once it goes, you have your on, which goes from high to medium and down to low. And one more click, completely off. Yours may vary, so just be prepared. Moving on, we have the actual gun of the airbrush itself, which, as you can see, there are multiple components to it. As I unscrew the back, the most noticeable is, of course, the needle. This is what controls the amount of air and paint that goes through the actual airbrush itself. And then also there is the trigger of the airbrush gun, which is also known as a toggle. And once it is pushed down and back, as so, allows for the needle itself to move. And once the needle moves, that allows the air to push out the paint, as so, demonstrated with, my fingers, because we can't see air. But, as you can see, the bottom of the gun connects right to the compressor. And by pressing it down and pulling it back, it allows for the high, medium, or low air pressure to shoot up into the gun and then push the paint out. That's the whole principle of an airbrush, basically, is just pressing it down and allowing for the movement and control of paint splatters to happen. The further you push it back, the more paint comes out. And then also there is the ink well, or just the well in general, since for an airbrush you can put not only inks but also paints into it. And once you pull back, the actual needle itself with the trigger allows for that paint to funnel through. As you can see, the bottom is a lot narrower than the top, allowing for a much more controlled motion, and, with the cap, ensures that no paint spillage will happen. The needle itself, if you can see it, moves back and lets that drip come through. So you're not going to be pushing a whole bunch of paint or ink out. And once I unscrew it, as you can see, the actual needle itself has this little thing wrapped around it. Not exactly sure what you call it, but it comes in many sizes. I like to call it like the little spurt. And it's, if you've ever worked with rattle cans for spray paints, it's essentially various sizes that allows for various spreads of the paint. So I have a bit of a narrower one, I also have a much wider one. It's all a matter of taste, and especially also for your personal needs. There are even some incredibly narrow caps. Now, if we look at the gun, you can see the needle itself pulls back. And without these little nozzles, paint would just go everywhere. It should also be worthy to mention that after, spraying it, I would recommend cleaning that off, so that you don't get any paint particles screwing up the flow of paint. Furthermore, if we look a bit deeper into the airbrush, as I unscrew this part, there is the actual needle holder, I guess you can call it, not entirely sure, which at the bottom allows for the air to come through, right there. That's where the air from the compressor comes through and pushes out the paint. Once you pull back, and the needle allows for the paint mixtures to come through. It's all incredibly technical, and by technical, it's all just the systems of valves. That's all it is. It's nothing too fancy. You're not needing a engineering or aerospace degree to oh goddamn, I dropped it, to understand it. It's all just a matter of screwing things in and pulling things out. You'll be fine. Don't think that you have to know everything about an airbrush, how to fix it or operate it. The compressor itself might be a bit more complex, but the gun itself is very easy to handle and to work with, and very customizable too to some extent. So if you're in the market for one, just research and ask, what's your want? And especially if your compressor has this neat little thing, you already have a storage capacity. And all you gotta do is just screw in the bottom to the actual gun, thus connecting it to the compressor, and you're all set up. It's very simple. Moving on, I'm just going to show you a few paints, such as a heavy body paint, an ink, and of course, a primer. This one from Vallejo. Each one has their own various levels of viscosity. The heavier body one representing your average paint, more specifically acrylic, that you'll be using. You'll have to thin it down, of course, with something like an airbrush medium and water for it to flow easily into the airbrush itself. As you can see, it thins down some of the paints. And for like the Vallejo primer, comes out perfectly. Stuff such as your inks are going to be a bit thicker, but won't require as much dilution once you put it into the airbrush. And plus, most have this neat little dropper that you can dab on or put an exact amount into the airbrush. And as you can see, it's thin enough that it flows fairly easily. However, I would just be aware that this will dry very quickly once you put it through an airbrush. Because it's already so thin, the air is just going to dry it out right away. So if you're working very quickly, that's fine. But for something slow, go for like a surface primer or just a regular paint. And something like a surface primer from Vallejo is the best of both worlds between a heavier bodied acrylic paint and an ink, also coming in black or white or other colors. And with this Perry Knight miniature, I'm going to show you how to really make the paints work for you. So in a separate container, I am going to add a thinning medium, such as water or airbrush medium. Note, I put in way too much, because this was my first time working with like heavy bodied acrylics, which are different than our typical miniature paints. As you can see, the ratio between thinner and actual paint is very minimal. And I, of course, make this somewhat worse very soon by adding in some thinning and glazing medium, which, of course, thins down the paint a lot. So when you're working in an airbrush environment, please just test out your mixtures first. It's all a matter of personal preference on how you want the paints to come out, and the paint itself. If you add something like water, like I'm doing now, have it be clarified, because that will reduce the amount of rust that builds up in your airbrush. But once you get your mixture done, just stir it all up, get those components nice and homogenized so that it allows for the paint to flow easier. That's all it is. As you can see by the test, I thought it was good. I was wrong. So when you're working, just do a little test, like I am essentially going to be doing now. Put the paint into the well itself. If there's any residue, don't worry, that's just natural. You're not going to get it all into the well. You can, of course, brush it on, so that'd be fine. But then, once in the well, grab your airbrush, start it up. I'm going with high pressure and doing a little backdraft just to get the paint going. And I'm testing it on a secondary surface just to make sure that's flowing, and then applying it onto the model. Now, as you can see, this is very sputtery and very wet. It was not a good mixture. The paint should not look like that when it comes out of an airbrush. And I'm going to admit, I failed. I tried it on a bunch of other models. It did not work. So I just gave up and moved on to then cleaning the actual brush and my hobby mat. Now, as you see, the end where the paint comes out, as well as the well itself, have become incredibly dirty. So I'm going to take this neat little tool, which allows you to spray the cleaning into somewhere safe, and just stick the airbrush in there. Now, to clean out the well, I recommend getting a lot of IPA, isopropyl alcohol, which is typically used for cleaning nails from nail polish. Works just as well with other acrylic paints. They're the same basis. just one is latex, typically, and I squirt it in there because it will reduce the amount of rust that will build up, and it is a lot easier to rid yourself of all the paint. So just put it in there, squirt it, and if you can see the little mists and vapors, that is all of the air. Furthermore, you can just put some in there, mix it all around, and just dump it into a cup if you do not have this. And of course, you can also like spray it into there. It'll just be a bit less safe. So please, always wear a mask, even if you're not cleaning it and just using it. Wear a mask because this shoots out ammonia. Yeah, that's what the funky smell is. When acrylic paint dries, it's ammonia. So please wear a mask. Don't die. And give it a few spurts. Make sure that the paint comes out. Take off the end cap. Make sure that there is no paint on the actual needle itself, because that can clog up and prolong your cleaning time. Like as you can see here, with a nice clean, a lot of it is reduced, but there is still some present, telling me that, oh yeah, there's some either in the well or more likely on the needle itself. Plus also, cleaning the end cap where the paint comes through sort of helps because there is residual paint. Looking at it right here, there is some paint that I just pull right off. You don't have to worry too much about it. If it's really old or you've used it a lot, you can, of course, pull out the needle from the end and clean it like that, but that's very rare. And to try it again, I just summoned forth these dragons. Bah! Boop! You know, to try and test. They're absolutely beautiful, except for you. Get out here, Daenerys. We don't like white savior stories here. But the reason why I chose these is because, one, they're dragons. Two, they're beautiful miniatures. They have a lot of texture, a lot of different surfaces, some flat, some smooth, some in between, that would allow me to really get back into the groove of things. So I loaded up the airbrush, this time trying to mix it within the actual airbrush well itself, which is something you can do like that, by putting in the medium, then the paint, and swirling it around with a brush, or just pressing your finger up to the end and pulling back some of the paint, as I had shown earlier, and, just applying it onto the Mini, this time with a lot more success. Though it was still a bit watery, heavy body acrylic is a bit hard to work with, unlike most paints. It came out a lot better than before. So that was today's video. Sorry once again for not publishing a whole lot of videos, despite it being the summer and I don't have a whole lot to do. Unfortunately, when you live in a old house in the country, you have to fight a bunch of things, such as the heat that no amount of air conditioning can stop, or the bees, which thankfully have stopped and whatnot. Please God, make sure that they're gone. As well as just general life things. I play games, I go out for walks, I exercise, so making the videos is a bit slow, admittedly, even though I want to do more. No idea why I get more stuff done during school, but what can you do? That's just it, in today's video. I also am making this outro because I want to give a little bit of an update. I've got quite a few videos that I'm going to be publishing this weekend to sort of make up for my lack of content creation. I've been working on a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't really posted on my Instagram for the hobby streak, mostly because that would be spoilers for the videos that I'm posting. But yeah, that stuff is done. You'll see it soon. And, Without further ado, my name has been Bard, pronouns they, them, and she, her. Thank you all for watching my video, and remember, no matter what you do, as long as you can make wonderful art and art that you like, doesn't matter what tools you have or how you do it, as long as you're happy. So, make chaos reign. Bye-bye.